This video is part 1 in a 2-part series on incubating ball python eggs. The supplies that you'll need are an incubator with a good thermostat, incubator boxes, vermiculite or other substrate, water, and a temp gun. Setting up your box is pretty simple. First, you'll need to have your small plastic box that comes with a lid. Also have holes in your lid for ventilation. First, you'll want to add the vermiculite or other substrate that you're using. I put a generous amount in and cover about 1 inch on the bottom of the box. The next thing that you'll want to do is add your water. Some people weigh theirs out, but I like to go by feel. I can always add a little bit more water if I need to, so I keep that in mind when I'm initially adding some. You'll want to mix it up really well, and I just do this with gloves because I don't want it all over my hands. You can kind of clump the vermiculite together and get a good feel of how much water you have. You want it to be kind of like wet sand, but not dripping, or if you squeeze the vermiculite, you don't want any water to be coming out of your hand, but you do want it to be damp enough to stick together. Then you'll want to put it in your incubator to get warm. Females are very attentive to their eggs and very good mothers, so they can become quite aggressive. Lucky for us, she is not aggressive today. You'll want to kind of grab the snake up by the head, like you can see me doing, being very gentle so as to not hurt the mother or the eggs. Then you grab her tail and just kind of unwrap from both ends. You can see she's pretty skinny because she's put all of her fat stores into her eggs. Put her in a different box while you're dealing with the eggs so that you can avoid any conflict or stress to your snake. I kind of check for eggs as I'm putting them in their boxes too to make sure they haven't retained any. I like to keep my box that's all ready to go right near my eggs, and then I just pick the eggs up and put them in the box where I've carved out a small space for them to sit. These boxes are already up to temperature. I like to put them in a couple hours before I need to use them. Usually you can tell your female's laying eggs and then you can kind of get her box ready. The next thing you want to do takes place in the dark, and that is candling your eggs to make sure that they're fertile. I used the flashlight on my iPhone. Now what you're looking for is you just kind of want to touch the flashlight to the eggs, and you'll see veins. The flashlight does a really good job of illuminating the eggs so that you can see what's inside. We can get a closer look. So you'll see here, all these veins mean that the egg is fertile. Actually, if you look down there with that little black dot, that's actually the eye of the little embryo. So I'm just rechecking everything around, and you can kind of see all the nice little veins in here, and these are definitely fertile eggs. They're very obvious if they're infertile. Then I print out a small sticker giving me basic but essential information about my clutch. Then I go ahead and add the sticker to the box. I usually put a piece of tape over it so that it doesn't get damaged by the humidity, and put the lid on. Then I place the clutch into the incubator where it will stay for the next 56 to probably 62 or 63 days depending on fluctuation in temperatures. Now it's time to clean out the box. You want to clean your boxes so that your females can go on feed faster. I think it's good to kind of alcohol everything with hand sanitizer and wipe it off really well with a paper towel. That way it gets rid of a lot of the smells of her eggs. It seems like that helps them to get back on feed quickly. So after you dump the pine or whatever your substrate is and get all fresh stuff, you can put her back in her box, and I use this time to kind of double check again to make sure she has no retained eggs at all. I also switch her to a different spot, and then you just give her a fresh water cup and you're done. To recap, be sure that you have a good thermostat on your incubator. You've waited all year for your eggs, and it's not a good time to be risking any complications. Also, eggs incubate between 88 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit for anywhere between 56 to 60 days depending on the temperature. Incubators have a temperature gradient between their bottom to top rows. It's a good idea to take readings from each level so that you know what temperature your boxes are incubating at. You don't want them incubating too warm or too cool.